Hi there, welcome back to my channel where today I'm playing with these two palettes to create this eyeshadow look. If you would like to see how I did it, then don't go anywhere. If you've never been here before, you might hear strange little sounds. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom, and my infant is on my lap, so those are the sounds you hear. I really like to play with colorful eyeshadow. I try to upload several videos a week that are all eyeshadow related, so if that's your thing, I do hope you'll consider liking and subscribing before you go. I'm starting by priming my eyes. I use the Glamlight Icing Primer. It's just what I have had for quite some time. This is actually the shade Buttercream, and usually I use the shade White Frosting. But I happen to have this Buttercream shade simply because the last time I placed a Glamlight order, they didn't have White Frosting in stock. So this was the next best. Today I want to play with these two palettes. This is the Geodes palette from What's Up Beauty. This is new to my collection. I just got it secondhand a couple days ago. I had played with this once and I think I took a video. If I did, I will show it to you guys. This is the palette I want to play in, but I also want to play in Age of Opulence from Beauty Bay because I think I want to grab some depth from this palette. So I have obviously already primed my eyes. Let's zoom in and get going. I have a decent amount of experience with Beauty Bay shadows at this point, and I have learned that they don't really build upon themselves very well. So when I use Beauty Bay, I almost always start with the deepest shadow. I'm taking a dense blending brush and first grabbing the shade Velvet. And I'm going to place this very carefully in my outer corner, because again, you can always build up, but you can't take away. I want to talk to you guys today about the new Oden's Eye releases. I just realized that I still have the cover for this mirror. Do you want to see? I know people like this process. Ta-da! Oden's Eye's release, among many other things, has been on my radar lately, and I have thoughts. I have thoughts about their newest palettes. They are called Stone and Rock and Jewels and Gems, or vice versa, something like that. They're probably some of the most neutral palettes that Oden's Eye has ever released. They are really pretty. I have been tempted to get them because I love Oden's Eye. I love the formula. I know that I would like the palettes. I'm taking a Blend Bunny brush. Blend Bunny recently had a sale. They had a whole stock of brushes and they realized that the adhesive was not up to par. Some of the ferrules were wiggly and falling off because the adhesive wasn't quite as good as they wanted it to be. So they reordered with a new adhesive, but all of the stock that they had with the faulty adhesive was listed for 50% off and buy one, get one free. So if you ordered one, you paid half price and you got two. So I placed an order for one and I got two sets. So I'm not going to take the time to show them to you now, but I really like them because they're super, super soft and they're also quite small, which is great for hooded eyes. And I'm learning that for my eye shape and the depth of my hood, it's nice to have small brushes because you can blend in much smaller areas. So this is just a Blend Bunny B4 brush and I'm going into the Geodes palette and taking the shade Rhodonite and dipping in really lightly. I'm going to use this to hit the edges of the purple. And I think I'm going to blend it out one more shade from here, but I'm just going to start with this. So the Oden's Eye palettes are neutral with a bit of color. One of them has a lot of green in it. It's actually quite green heavy. It's mainly green with a bunch of metallic colors. And then the other one is, it's the one that's called Jewels. It's a little more jewel toned-ish, but they're more subdued, not bright in your face true jewel tones. And that one also has a nice assortment of more metallic or earthy sorts of shimmers. Lots of golds and silvers and browns. The palettes are very pretty. I'm going to take the same brush and go back into Age of Opulence and take the shade, what is it? RSVP. I'm not going to bother cleaning the brush, but RSVP is my skin tone, so now I'm using that on the edge of the Rhodonite shadow and I'm just braiding it out from here. I think that these new Oden's Eye palettes are their answer to the request for more Christmas palettes. Steph from Steph's Beauty Stash compared the green one to a couple of other Oden's Eye palettes. And I noticed right off the bat that it reminded me a lot of Hella, but she compared it directly to the Merry Christmas palette, and a lot of the greens and even some of the shimmers were quite similar as well. Look at that blend. That blended out really nicely. Really, really nicely. I almost lost the Rhodonite shade. Maybe I'll dip back in. I'm just going to buff this out as much as I want, and then I'll add in the colors that I like. Anyway, so Steph compared them, and there were a lot of similarities between, especially between the green one and Merry Christmas, but then also Hella. And then I also have the Earthy 42 pan, so I have all the greens I could ever need. And I love green eyeshadow. It's probably my favorite. I love how these mixing tones, or these buffing out shades, have kind of created this lovely warm purple, but it's very soft and gentle. I'm taking the same brush that I used for the velvet shadow. I haven't dipped in to get more product. I'm just taking whatever's on the brush and filling in my crease a little bit more because it's pretty. Now I'll go back into, I don't know, RSVP, I guess, and just soften all of that. I think I want to use the sagey limey green shimmer from the Geodes palette for this look. So I'm creating a purple crease and we'll go from here. And then the other palette that was much more cool toned, but again, it has kind of metallic sorts of shimmers. That one reminds me a lot of the Christmas Eve palette, which I didn't get, but is beautiful. If I were to grab either of them, I would most likely go for that one because that one actually is different from what I have and it's in a formula that I love, etc. I think that these palettes are probably a great fit for neutral lovers. Excellent formula, amazing packaging, etc., etc. You know the story, but they're much more neutral leaning. So if you're a neutral lover who wants to dip your toes into color, or if you prefer neutrals but like a little bit of color, they're probably an excellent choice for you. I can absolutely recommend the brand. Their formula is amazing. Probably my favorite brand. And of course, they knock it out of the park when it comes to packaging. And usually I say that Uden's Eye's color stories are great, but I think that these, while they are good, are just not very stimulating. With a smaller blending brush, this is the Blend Bunny B2. I'm going back into Rhodonite and I'm putting this on my lower lash line. I may deepen it with that purple, I'm not sure. Those are my thoughts in a nutshell when it comes to the new Uden's Eye palettes. I do think they're really pretty. If you love that color story, if it's unique to your collection, if it's something you want to try, I absolutely recommend the brand. I love the brand. The prices are completely fair and shipping is, I think, $8 from Sweden, which is ridiculously affordable because I was looking at a different brand. Their shipping was $21 from the UK. I think it was the same kind of shipping. It was, you know, tracking an international. I don't know. I'm not sure. I do not know the details of shipping, but $21 was a lot harder to swallow than $8, so I didn't buy anything from that brand. But anyway, this is the Geodes palette, and this is new to my collection. I think I took a video. If I did, I'll put it up on the screen for you, where I used this for the first time. And like I said, the first time I used it, it was an interesting experience because I sort of hunkered away in the bathroom while my children were entertained elsewhere. And I wanted to just do my eyeshadow and have some fun. But because I was hunkered, instead of sitting and enjoying the process, and because I was in my bathroom, which has truly awful lighting, I just felt kind of rushed. And with the first two colors I put on my eyes, which I started with clay, and then I went into rock, or clay and terra, I forget. Anyway, I literally said out loud, it looks like there's dirt all over my eyelids. Because the lighting in my bathroom was so bad, and I was just completely unenthused, unexcited by the eye look. I finished it, and then I went out and saw it in natural lighting, and it was much better. It was better than I thought it was, I will say. The colors in this palette are really pretty. The neutrals are more rosy toned, and then there are lots of really pretty shimmers. And when I put the shimmer on my lid, it was quite lovely. Just really, really sparkly and light, not heavy, not emollient, just very light and sparkly. It was very pretty. And the mattes have performed quite nicely. I have very much enjoyed the formula so far. And right now, using this Rhodonite shade, it's going on really well. It's just a lovely soft color. I think I'll leave it halfway there. And now I want to put on the shimmer. Now, I had used my finger for the shimmer. I haven't tried it. Let me try it with a brush just to see how it works. I don't mind using my finger, but I'm curious to see how this works with a brush. So I'm going to take a flat brush and grab the shade Peridot, and then I'll spray it. I usually spray my shimmers because it helps control fallout, and it also makes them a bit more metallic looking. So if you want your shimmer to disperse a bit better, then don't spray it. Just use it on a dry brush. So this is the shade Peridot on a wet brush. I'm going to put this on the center of my lid. Yeah, it applies just as well. Honestly, just as well, wet or dry. So that's good to know. Another thing, applying with a brush will give you more precision. So if you want to do a cut crease or even a faux cut crease where, you know, it looks kind of like a cut crease but without the effort of a concealer, you can get that with a brush versus taking your finger is going to give you a much more distributed application. It's not going to be as precise. So I'm going to lay Peridot down on the middle area of my lid, and I kind of just want to play with some of the sparkles. I think from here, I'll take the shade Citrine, which is the yellow shimmer, and put that on my inner lid, like the inner third or so. The first time I used this palette, I did a halo eye, and I laid down Peridot, and then I put Citrine right on top of it, more in the center. So Peridot was maybe the middle third of my lid. Citrine was just a column in the very center of that third. and it just brought in another extra brightness. And also I'm gonna take the shade Amethyst, which is a shimmer, and I'm gonna apply it dry, see how it goes. This is gonna go between the green shimmer and the purple matte, just to help transition between formula and color. That's looking really pretty. I do want to deepen the outer lower lash line, so taking a smudger brush back into the velvet shadow, which I used originally, just pressing this in my outer corner of the lower lash line to bring in that depth, but it's also bringing in the purple, because the lower lash line of the Rhodonite shade is more of a rosy pink. And now I'm taking quite a small blending brush, and I'm going back into Citrine. I'm gonna load up my brush and then spray it. Look at that. Oh, that's so good. That's really good. I love a matte white inner corner. I think it's a beautiful way to brighten up that space, whether or not it's white, just a very light matte inner corner. And matte is more appealing and flattering on aging skin. But this Citrine shade is so bright. It's lovely. It's really lovely. I have very much enjoyed this palette. My very first impression was a bit less than positive, but that was not the palette's fault. That was the lighting in the room. I'm going to choose something for the waterline to finish this up. I'll be right back. I totally forgot my palette pull-in. This is a project that I'm working on. The palette was randomly selected, and now I'm just doing shade by shade. Now I can show you. I have done up through shade number 14. So now I'm on to 15. Almost done this palette, and 15 is shade Nocturne, which does fortunately work pretty well with today's eye look. So I like to apply ColourPop shadows with my finger. By the way, if you want to know about this project, it's carded above for you. So here's the shade Nocturne, and I'm going to put it right here where the green and purple meet. I'm not going in heavy. This is Nocturne, and I'm going to put it, I haven't dipped back into it. I'm just placing it, sort of distributing it between the two eyes. I'm putting it over top of the purple shimmer that I laid down from Geodes, because I forgot about this, and that's where it's gonna go. Alternatively, I could have put it on my lower lash line. But now that it's placed down, I'm gonna get a brush, the one that I used to put down my purple matte, and I'm just tapping around the edges over here, and I will get a flat brush. It's been cleaned off, but I'm dragging the green shimmer over onto the Nocturne shadow, just to help blend everything together a bit. It's gonna be a hint of pink. Well, the little one woke up and now she's down here nursing. So to finish off this look, I put on two ColourPop Creme Gel liners. This is the shade Extra Frosting. It's a sort of a buttery color, and I put it over here. And then the shade Champs is a beautiful purple, and I put that way out here in my outer lower waterline. On my face, I've got the Tulum palette from BH Cosmetics. There are two highlighters in here, so there's actually kind of a yellowy highlighter on my cheekbone, and that's it. And then on my lips, I'm wearing two lip oils. First, we've got Showering Sunset from Burt's Bees, and then we have Paper Pansy from ColourPop. I like the texture of both of those, honestly. I really like ColourPop's lip oils, and I wanted to put a little bit of the purpley hint of this shade on top of the Showering Sunset that I used. Anyway, that's the whole look. I have some mascara on and no eyeliner. That's everything. I hope you enjoyed it. You have to let me know in the comments, what do you think about the new Oden's Eye release? What are your thoughts? Are you a neutral lover who loves a little bit of color? Do you feel that they're redundant? Do you have all those colors kind of? Maybe I'll pick up the cool toned one at some point if I can't quite shake it. But honestly, there are other palettes on the market and other palettes that I know are coming, which excite me a little bit more. So I think that those Oden's Eye palettes are great if that's your thing. I'm just not quite sure that it's my thing, because I do have those colors pretty well represented elsewhere. And remember, I have the Merry Christmas palette. Several of them more grungy, browny, yellowy, greeny sorts of tones are in that palette anyway. So at the end of the day, buying the palette for me is really a matter of, do I have these colors in that formula? Maybe not, but I have them in other formulas that are just as good, or I might actually have similar colors in the Oden's Eye formula spread across other palettes. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about them? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks for being patient while I get back into a routine with the little ones. We're kind of coming upon an established nap schedule. We're not there yet, but I'm working on it. I hope you guys are doing great, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye!